All right, we are live. This is episode 153 of the MMA Outsiders. I'm Zain, and he's Jack Gold. Shout out to the 10 people who are already in here on this fine but cold Thursday afternoon, depending on where you may be in the United States of America or the rest of the world, depending on where you're at. Jack, how are you on this fine Thursday afternoon as we get closer and closer to the first UFC fight weekend of 2026?
Man, like you said, it is we're both in Chicago. It is a cold Chicago day. I'm here at my desk and I'll put my feet against the wall and the wall is freezing cold. So the next couple of days are going to be interesting, but the way to keep us nice and warm, Saturday night UFC 324 is back and I can't wait. Big fight, big card, UFC Paramount debut. The itch was finally getting to me. I was feeling good for the last 6 weeks. No UFC, no fights. We got a little RAF. We got the Cardiac Bears, the Chicago Bears were keeping us alive. There's been college football, but now the Bears are out. College football's over. The evil gods of the NFL have put together their forces, and they're like, here's the worst 4 teams possible for the NFL playoff. Here you go. So the itch is back, and UFC 324 is here with a bang.
Yeah, so sure enough, before we get into the fights, just wanted to let you guys know we are streaming live across the board. We're streaming live on YouTube, we're streaming live on X, we're streaming live on Kick, we're streaming live on Twitch. We're pretty much everywhere today. Again, this is episode 153 of the MMA Outsiders. Before we get into anything, though, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can do so at youtube.com/ETV Network. Because again, as I just alluded to, we are live everywhere. So for those of you who may be checking this out for the first time and don't want to miss another second of this weekly show that we do every single Thursday, you can do so by hitting the notification bell, liking the video, because that tells Jack and I that you guys want more content like this. You guys want us to branch out a little bit more, so it would really help us out if you guys did that. If you have never seen me before, my name is Zain Bando. I am a staff writer for MMAKnockout.com on Sports Illustrated. And of course, to my right is Jack Gold. He's an independent MMA content creator, but he's really, honestly, jack of all trades. If you ask him to really do anything, he's really good at it, whether it's behind the scenes or on camera as well. So he's a very, very impressive asset to have. And given just kind of the timeline that we're in, Jack, do you want to remind everybody where you're going to be this weekend?
Yeah, so I will be calling my first card, CSE The Gauntlet, on Triller TV. It'll be me and Matt Frivola on the mic. It'll be a great card. We've got amateur championships. We've got the Gauntlet. We've got pillow fighting championships. Don't miss that. We've got concerts from Solo Papa and Fergie Baby and guest appearances from Bobby Shmurda and Waka Flocka Flame. If you are in Brooklyn or New York City, come to the New York Fight Club or Combat Club near Coney Island.
Yeah, and just to clarify for those who may be confused because of how big this UFC event is this weekend, it is before the UFC event, correct?
That's a good question. I don't know. It'll be at some point on Saturday.
Okay, so the event itself will be at some point on Saturday. The point is that there are fights on Saturday, and apparently, based on where you're going, there's fights all over the country besides yours that I didn't even know about. So that's very.
Oh no, this is a double header going head to head with the UFC Saturday night.
Oh geez, okay. So I promise I won't give you any spoilers, I swear. But speaking of the UFC, a little bit into breaking news. If you guys didn't already know, the UFC is back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is cinema. We have waited 6 weeks with no UFC whatsoever. There's obviously been regional MMA and other stuff for the MMA diehard sickos out there. But for just the solo UFC fans, we are officially back. We are officially even cooking. And before we get into the card, Jack, how do you feel that the biggest 3 letters in all mixed martial arts are finally back? And how do you feel that the UFC is back on a little bit more of a consistent basis, where the 43 event marathon officially begins on Saturday night? To where I always like to say it every year, it's never it's a marathon and not a sprint. And by the middle of the year, you're like, oh shoot, we still have the entire second half of the year to go. And by the time you get to Thanksgiving, you go, gosh darn it, it was already almost over. But we're finally back at the beginning again. It's been a long time since we've said it. How are we viewing?
Listen, it's a great card. Like, I think the biggest thing that I've noticed this week, as dumb as it is the new face-offs. The Paramount face-offs have them on like this platform with all these lights
I
showing
think
the
it's
belt.
cool.
I think it's cool too. And I think the funniest video that I've seen this week, I might even be able to find it here, is Justin Gaethje was facing off with Paddy Pimblett, and one of the people in the back now one of the people in the background kind of reached out and were like, instead of like after the face off, they were like, now you kiss, here we go. Let's see if I could pull this up. Oh yeah, we got it.
Oh geez, I haven't seen this angle of it. Okay.
3 2 da-da-da-da-da-da. Oh, is it this one? No. Here we go. Bam. Here we are. Here we are. Full screen. Here's the new face. So you can kind of see they have the lights. They're using the apex. Uh-oh, we got to turn that music off. My bad. But you can see they're like looking at each other. They're facing off. They're making it real cinematic. And if I could find the proper video, what I was looking for, now in the behind the scenes, one of the UFC workers go, now you kiss, and they both look at each other and start laughing. But that's essentially that. My bad, guys.
No, all good. All good. It happens. I mean, you're sharing screen naturally. Things are going to happen. Hopefully, we don't get copyright struck for the 10 seconds that we showed that. But nonetheless, though, I mean, I guess if you find the video, certainly play it. But I guess that's a perfect segue into previewing what is UFC 324. It is the first card in the United States ever. Well, not ever. You have to count a few of these other numbered UFCs that kind of follow the same trajectory. But at least for the next 7 years, for the first time ever, no more additional pay-per-view is required. For those of you who've not gotten the memo, it's one subscription, Paramount Plus, either $8.99 or $13.99 without ads. Every single UFC event, every single episode of Landman, every NFL game on CBS. Paramount is pulling out all the stops for the UFC, and it's a huge game changer. So before we preview any of these fights, just very briefly, how do we feel about the UFC no longer being strictly a pay-per-view product in the United States? Oh, Jack, you're muted.
We rocking and rolling. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
There we go. I bumped the switch. Everything's going on here. We're fumbling. I'm falling apart. But no,
That's all right.
I was looking through the Paramount library the other night, and what I will say is, for the hardcores, maybe not everything's on there yet.
No, it's not.
Everything will be there. But for the casual fan, I think it's a very good product. I think they have it sectioned out where you can find the people you want to watch. You can watch most main card pay-per-views of the ESPN era. You can watch a lot of Legends fights. You're not going to be finding prelims. You're not going to be finding all of the main cards.
No.
But you'll find the good stuff. You'll find a lot of good stuff on there.
Yeah, you'll find a lot of good stuff on there. And again, as you alluded to, not everything is up there. And I'm just going to be honest, I think Dana White was talking about his ass a little bit. He's like, we have all the old school Ultimate Knockout series. But you do not have Ultimate Knockouts. 1, you don't have Ultimate Knockouts. 2, you don't even have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. You guys do not have the entire UFC archive up there just yet. They don't even have the best ofs from 2007 to 2013. So
I know the only pay-per-views they have go to 246. That's the beginning of the ESPN era, no?
Yeah, it is.
So who knows? But starting off with our first pay-per-view of the year, now Jack Gold MMA is the reigning defending picks champion of the MMA Outsiders.
Yeah, as you As you sure are. You beat me by a considerable amount. It was 301 to something like 253 or something. You kind of killed me a little bit. So
Hey, this is your comeback year, Zan.
I hope so, man.
How we feeling? Can we see the
Yes, sir.
poster here?
Here we
Yes,
go.
we
Yep,
can.
that's it.
UFC 324. Let's start at the bottom. We got some fun prelims here. Starting off, Ty Miller, the debutante of Contender Series versus Adam Fugit. Heavy favorite on the Ty Miller side. I see him anywhere from 390 to 440 as a favorite. Who are you picking here?
I like Ty Miller conservatively by decision. I think the UFC jitters are going to get to him a little bit, but I think it's one of those performances where he clean sweeps him 30 to 27 on all three.
See, I think I'm also going to pick Ty Miller, but I also think this is a little disrespectful to Fugit because the only people beating him, Michael Morales, Mike Malott, like the good names are beating him, you know what I mean? And he's beating the guys who aren't great. And I don't know how sold I am on Ty Miller, but I'm going to pick him. 6'2", 78-inch reach at welterweight, big guy. I think he's even bigger than 6'2". Am I wrong?
You're probably right.
But
probably 6'2.5", 6'3".
Yeah,
So.
but I think he's a very young, fresh, good prospect that I am going to pick.
Okay.
Next up, Ricky Tercios versus Cam Smotherman. Now, Cam Smotherman is one of those guys. He feels young. He's 28, 12-6.
Yeah,
Not 12, the best record.
12-6 isn't great, especially a guy who's, getting up there in age in regards to him almost being 30. That's a concerning sign considering, he's fighting on the prelims when typically guys who are 28, 29 are top contenders, at least in this day and age of MMA. So he still has a lot of catching up to do. And unfortunately, I think Tercios is just going to be too much for him. What do you think?
See, I think that Ricky's even older. He's almost 33. I just think the problem with Ricky Tercios is that his best win is Brady Highstand by a lot. You know what I mean?
Which no disrespect to him, but he wasn't the greatest prospect off the Ultimate Fighter himself. So.
Yeah, like he lost to Boston Salmon, lost to Mana Martinez.
And doesn't Boston Salmon like not even compete anymore? Right?
Yeah, lost to Eamon Zahabi, split decision with Kevin Natividad, lost to Rosas, lost to Sopai. I just think that with Smotherman, I think Ricky Tercios is on the way out, where I think Cam still has some to give. You know what I mean?
You taking him then?
I'm taking Cam Smotherman to get the job done by decision.
Okay.
Next up, I'm sure your favorite fighter on earth.
He's not.
The Joshua Incredible Hokit, Zan's favorite fighter.
He's not. I promise you, he's not. I actually think he's really annoying. So
taking on Denzel Freeman. Listen, I think the odds here are kind of nuts. Like Josh Hokit, 6'1", 73.5-inch reach as a heavyweight. Hasn't really wrestled. Like he left wrestling in college to pursue football, took that time off, and then came back. Has little T-Rex arms, and he's a -250 favorite. Give me the Olympic Training Center wrestler. Give me the LFA heavyweight champion. Give me the guy who finished Stephen Aspinall in 7 minutes. Give me Denzel Freeman.
Okay, this is where we're gonna disagree. I just think Hokit's power is too much for him, and I think this is a fast track fight, in my opinion, where the UFC sees his potential vulnerability and they want to shoot him off like a rocket because they are already assuming, in my opinion, and he's barely even seen Octagon time if we really think about it. They see him as a viable potential star at heavyweight, and they want him to go shoo like this. And I think that as much as you say that Freeman has power, which he does, I don't know if Hogan potentially getting in his head is going to end up backfiring on him. I have zero idea, but what I can tell you is it's going to be a fun fight and someone's getting viciously finished. So
I agree. I agree. All right. Next up, Unk versus almost Unk. Michael Johnson versus Alex Hernandez. Listen, I think this one's cut and dry. I'm taking Alex Hernandez by knockout.
I'm taking Hernandez as well. Michael Johnson, no disrespect to him, he's a good dude. He's been around for a long ass time. He should have retired 7 years ago. I'm surprised he's still
On the three-fight win streak, I think.
No, I know. I just think he's not the same version of himself that he used to be. And dude, I'm so old that I remember watching him when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, and I was 10 years old, dude. That's that's how that's how long I followed Michael Johnson's career. So, I mean, he's always in fun fights. He's just one of those guys that the UFC keeps around, in my opinion, because they know he's always going to put on good fights. And Alexander Hernandez is no slouch either. But I think Hernandez wins this fight, and I think he does so pretty impressively. And I think it's one of those fights where, Hernandez, needs to stop being a guy who's being overlooked. And this may be the year for him to do exactly that. And this may be a good first step for him to sort of take to get back to being sort of in that contender status, if you will, which is something he really hasn't seen throughout his UFC career. He's fought some pretty big names, but he's really never shot himself up in the way that he probably thought he was going to. And I think Michael Johnson, right now at this point in his career, as crazy as it sounds, and I don't really compliment the UFC's matchmaking there on this, but I think the UFC got this one right. What do you think?
I'm excited, man. It'll be a good fight.
For sure.
Next up, Alex Perez versus Charles Johnson. Who do you got?
I like Charles Johnson. What about you?
I'm going to take Alex Perez here as the underdog.
Okay. Is it because of the undisclosed rumor, or is it because of something else?
I think there's a multitude of things, and I think he's due.
Okay. And you're saying that he's due for like a really impressive win, is what you're saying?
Even a decision. I just think he's due a win. You know what I mean?
Okay. And he wants to stay in the mix of a division that has a lot of question marks at the top of it too. So
yeah. And like you can't just say he's not good. Is he a pullout merchant? Oh yeah. But like I think he'll be here. I think it's close enough where you're like, okay, fight's 2 days away, all will be good. We're rocking and rolling.
Okay.
Next up, Nikita Krylov versus Modestas Bukauskas. Bukauskas is the minus 150 favorite versus Krylov, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was going to say, I think my pick easy is Krylov.
Mine is too, man. I
So
think it's for all the reasons you just said, and I also think Krylov is due for a highlight reel finish. That's what I think. I think he's due to get back on people's radar. He'll go on some small runs, and then he'll lose one that you'll forget about. And then you're like, what happened to Nikita Krylov? He needs to leave no questions unanswered in 2026. And as we alluded to a couple fights ago, I think this is a good matchup for him. I think Modestas Bukauskas, he's getting him at the right time. And if you really think about it, even though Bukauskas is a minus 150 favorite, if you take away all the betting, politicking, if you will, this is more so a pick'em fight than anything else. So I'm with you. I'm with you on this one for sure.
Not only that, it's like Nikita Krylov has fought Bogdan Guskov, who's good, Dominic Reyes, who's good, beats Ryan Spann, beats Volkan Oezdemir, beats Gustafsson, Paul Craig Fluke, Ankalaev, Johnny Walker, Glover. Like he's fought everybody, right? Bukauskas' 4-fight win streak he's on right now. Marcin Prachnio, Terrible.
Who I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore, right?
Nope. Rafael Cerqueira. Terrible. Ion Kutalaba split decision. Come on. And then Paul Craig.
Which, by the way, that's a fight that I thought Kutalaba won, if I remember it correctly. I'm like, what? I'm like, what in the world is this?
So, like, I think Nikita Krylov is just on a different level.
Okay. So you like Krylov. All right.
I like Krylov. Next up, we got Atiba Gauthier taking on Andre Puliev. Now, I was telling Zain off air, I think this is a huge spot for a possible upset. Like, Puliev has a much better opponent record than Atiba's ever fought. However, I think Atiba's a legit specimen. Like, I think he is something special. So I think he's going to get the job done.
Yeah. I got Gauthier, man. I think he's a fun prospect. I think he likes to fly around. He's never in a boring fight, and I think it's one of those fights where you won't want to miss it because to me it's one of the most underrated fights on the whole card because guys like these to me are the future generation of the UFC. And if you want to talk about them fighting on a big platform like Paramount Plus, especially people who have never seen either of these two guys before, it's a very, very interesting fight. So are we in agreement there?
I agree for sure. And it's like Puliev typically is bigger and has a longer reach than all of his opponents. Not Atiba, so we'll see.
All right. Now, we have a former champion taking on a former title challenger. It's Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Davison Figueiredo. My prediction is pretty simple. I think I've learned my lesson for the last 7 years to really never bet or pick against Nurmagomedov. And even though Davison Figueiredo was the UFC flyweight champion many moons ago, again, it was many moons ago, and you don't know what Davison Figueiredo you're going to get. And to be quite fair, he didn't fight his best against Montel Jackson, and I think Umar Nurmagomedov is out to continue to make statements and show that he's one of the best bantamweights in the world that doesn't currently have a title or another title shot yet. So therefore, I think Umar Nurmagomedov's wrestling is going to be too much, and I just think Davison Figueiredo is on the downswing of his career, and I think this is a bad matchup for him. What do you think?
First round finish from Umar.
Okay.
That's what I think.
Okay.
All right. It'll be a good fight. Next up, the first fight of the numbered event era on Paramount. Zain, take it away.
Yeah, this should be a good one. So we have Arnold Allen taking on Jon Silva. And to me, this is a potential fight of the night candidate. If I've ever seen one, I think this is going to be an all-action slugfest. But I think Jon Silva's due for another highlight reel win, and I think he finishes Arnold Allen. What do you think?
As much as I want Arnold Allen to win, I think you're right. I think it's about to be a left hook knockout from Jon Silva.
Okay. Next fight, we have Rose Namajunas taking on Natalia Silva. This could be considered to me a passing of the torch fight. Obviously, Rose Namajunas is a former multiple-time champion. Natalia Silva, I think, is part of the next generation of women's MMA. I am picking Rose Namajunas, but I'm doing so cautiously because I don't know what version of Rose Namajunas is going to show up. What do you think?
See, I was about to pick Rose Namajunas as well, but I think I'll take Natalia Silva. Yeah, we'll see, man. I could see Rose out grappling Natalia, but I'll trust the odds makers.
Okay. Next fight, we have the battle of the heavyweights, and I think the UFC knows what it's trying to do with this fight. Although I don't know because I'm not in the war room every single day, but I guess I can make my best judgment. We have Derrick Lewis taking on Waldo Cortez Acosta, and regardless of how this fight ends, I think it is a viral, nasty finish waiting to happen. And every single time I picked against Derrick Lewis, where Derrick Lewis is either the betting underdog or is just being disrespected by the MMA media, I always get burned. And I told myself I wouldn't make that mistake again. I did it when he knocked out Talison Teixeira. I'm doing it here. I'm picking Derrick Lewis to finish WCA. What do you think?
I think you're crazy. I think this is going to be. I think everything you said is incorrect.
Really?
I
What
think
makes you
this is
say
about
that?
to be. I think this is about to be Waldo versus Robellis 2.0. This fight
Okay.
starts takedown, and he's gonna hold Derrick Lewis down for 3 rounds. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Okay.
That's my bet. Waldo decision.
All right. Co-main event now. It wasn't the original co-main event. Um, and just to clarify, Jack, the co-main event or the modified and is considered a 5-round fight, or is it 3?
It looks like it's a 3-rounder still.
Okay. So we have former UFC bantamweight champion Sean O'Malley taking on Song Yadong, a must-win for Sean O'Malley, in my opinion, and potentially if Song Yadong beats Sean O'Malley, it is no question about it the single biggest win of his entire career. I hate to admit it, but I'm gonna do it. I think this is a fight that Sean O'Malley can't afford to lose. I think it seems from the footage I've seen, it seems like he's a lot more loose and relaxed. Oh, it took him a while to fully realize that he's no longer the champion anymore. And I actually think he puts on a performance of old and he finishes Song Yadong. What do you think?
I'm taking Sugar Sean O'Malley by decision, but I think it's going to be a very dominant performance.
Okay. And then finally, as we can flip to this, the main event of the evening for the interim UFC lightweight championship, the winner more than likely will fight Ilia Topuria later this year. It is Justin the Highlight Gaethje, the former UFC BMF champion and the former UFC interim lightweight champion. He would be the first fighter ever to win an interim title in this in division twice. It's never happened before. I couldn't believe it. That's how messed up the interim lineage is. Taking on a guy who is single-handedly never been in a boring fight in his entire UFC career. Are you riding the hot hand and Paddy the Baddy, or do you think that Justin Gage he has a couple more left to destroy the hype train that is arguably the UFC's favorite fighter at listen, because a lot of people seem like this is going feel like this is going to be a Pimblett slam dunk, whereas the hardcores from what I've seen have seemed to back the Arizona native. What do you think?
See, I'm torn because you watch a fight like the Jared Gordon fight or the Tony Ferguson fight or the Vendramini fight, and you're like, holy shit, Justin Gaethje's gonna kill this guy. But then you watch it where it's like, okay, I think something happened. I think literally it happened when his kids were born. The performance he put on against Chandler was spectacular. He was out wrestling Chandler. He was hurting him on the feet. His defense is still terrible. Like ate it right on an overhand right on the chin.
Oh, I mean, Jack, his defense has been terrible since the WSOF days. It's been terrible
Well,
for
I'm
a long
saying
time.
Paddy. I'm saying Paddy.
Fair enough. I mean, I was gonna say you can make the same argument about both guys too.
But that's what I was getting to. It's like, but if Rafael Fiziev is taking Gaethje down, Pimblett's gonna get him down, and Pimblett's gonna finish him. I was making the argument last night. I think if Pimblett has a hold of you in a position on the ground, back or top mount, he is as dangerous as anybody. He's as dangerous as Oliveira. He's as dangerous as Khabib. Like, is he anywhere near as good getting him to that positions? Hell no.
No.
But once he's got you there, you're fucked. Like, he's got one of the best guillotines in the sport. His triangles and arm bars are ridiculous. His back takes are ridiculous. He has a squeeze on him that's nuts. In every single fight, this guy keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Physically, like stronger. He looks big. So it's just like, man, I think Paddy's got him.
Yeah, I think Paddy has him too, and I'm gonna go bolder here and say that I actually think Pimblett finishes him in the first round. I think this is a very short night for Justin Gaethje, unfortunately, and he'll end up going on his own highlight reel, unfortunately, where he's going to be on the losing end of it.
I agree.
And I'm just curious because we're sitting here and we can kind of play this game a little bit. Do you or do you not suspect that Ilya Taporia will be in the front row and they will do yet another face-off between Pimblett and Taporia, or do you think they won't bring out the theater for that?
I don't know. I would think they'd want him there, but with the stuff going on in Ilya's life, I am unsure.
Okay, so that'll conclude previewing UFC 324. It was obvious. We went through that pretty quickly, but we can both agree that the main event we will have a brand new UFC interim lightweight champion. And do we actually think, sitting right here right now on Thursday, January 22nd, 2026, that the winner of this fight will actually fight Ilya, or do you think the lightweight division gets a little weird and this ends up being a promotion to the undisputed heavyweight championship and Ilya is forced to vacate or something crazy like that?
I think the winner of this fight fights Ilya as the White House main event.
Really? Okay. So
that's
do you
my
think?
prediction.
So do you think that's why? So wait a minute. So just so I can understand the dot connecting here, do you think that's why the UFC is so adamant on starting matchmaking Monday of this coming week instead of Tuesday like they usually do?
Unsure. I would think it has correlation if they want to see who wins this fight.
What makes you think that this will be the White House main event? Give me your theory as to why.
Because I've heard a rumor from a lot of different sources that there will be no Russians on this card.
Okay.
So if you say that, okay. So bantamweight's off the table, welterweight's off the table, middleweight's off the table. So those are big ones. Heavyweight's not happening, we don't think, not on the White House. Alex said no. So heavyweight's off the table. Or light heavyweight and heavyweight are off the table. Who knows what's happening with light heavyweight right now?
I'm just curious, how would light heavyweight be off the table specifically?
Because from what we said last week, if that's signed for 327, then there's no turn. They're not turning around a month and a half later.
No, good point. You're right. No, I don't think so. I don't think so either.
That's the same thing with Alex and Gon. So that's heavyweight and light heavyweight and middleweight and lightweight or welterweight off the table. So then to headline this card, would you rather have Diego Lopez versus Movsar? That can't happen. So it'd be Diego Lopez versus Lerone Murphy, but Lerone's fighting Movsar now in London. So featherweight's off the table too.
Right.
So then, and they're not having a flyweight main event.
No.
That leaves one division.
So you really don't think by some miracle that Conor McGregor is at least one half of the main event?
I think they want a real title. I think what they'll do is Ilya Topuria versus Pimblett, tentatively, main event. Conor versus whoever the hell, co-main event.
Dude, I don't think Conor's taking a co-main event. That's just me though, dude. I don't know.
I think you lose some power when you've gone on a 5-year coke bender.
Hey, I don't disagree, but if the money's there and the Paramount executives make them do it, I don't think they'll budge on that. Because think about it, do we really want to sell a non-American? Because Paramount's probably thinking, do we really want the UFC to sell a non-American to advertisers as the main event of the big promo they're going to do for it? You get my
that's what I'm saying too. Conor's not American.
I know, but he could be fighting an American headliner. He could be who knows? It could be this fight. It could be Max Holloway.
Let me ask you. So those are all off the table. I would think they're not putting them for slaughter in the main event. I think if you have a reasonable main event, the three options are Michael Chandler.
Okay.
Which Dana just said no to in an interview.
Okay, I'm just curious. What do we really think? What do we think is really going on there? Because when Chandler was told that, he was very, very confused. What do we think is what do we think truly is really happening there?
I think Chandler's delusional. Like I love him. He's a funny guy, but it's just like that was 4 years ago.
That's true. It was.
4 years ago. So it's like now it's like fuck, man. Now he's off the table. Supposedly now Jorge Masvidal's in the mix. Is he like he looked awful in his last fight? Like, are
He
we
did.
thinking,
He hasn't won a fight in 3.5 years.
even outside the ring? He lost to Nate Diaz in boxing.
I know. In a horrible fight, by the way. It's one of the worst boxing matches I've seen in a very long time. It was a terrible fight.
So it's just one of those things where it's like, are they what you tell me, Unk Connor versus Unk Masvidal is a bigger, better fight than Ilya versus Paddy for the undisputed lightweight.
I'm not saying it's bigger. I'm talking about from a business perspective. What does the UFC really want to try to sell Paramount? Because I don't know.
UFC, I don't sell them a one-off. I would say the one-off is the co-main to get some big numbers on. But
Okay.
Ilya and Paddy are the stars of now.
Okay.
And that's what you got to sell. You got to sell what's happening now. Connor and whoever ain't coming back. So it's like, all right, they have their fight. It's over with. The main event is the people who are going to fight for Paramount multiple times.
Okay, so you think if the UFC does it the right way, it's going to be a passing of the torch kind of thing.
Lightweight to lightweight.
Okay. Very interesting. Speaking of Dana White, it looks like Dana White isn't going to be retiring anytime soon. He told TMZ Sports' Michael J. Babcock that he's still all in on all of his business ventures, despite MMA social media going batshit crazy. People think that Dana isn't fully invested in the UFC. We had this discussion last week, but just briefly before we keep the show rolling along, what do we think of his recent comments about him not retiring? And I'm starting to think, and I don't know if you agree, maybe I'm looking into this too psychologically here. I think based on who he speaks to and based on who he genuinely respects as an interviewer, he will give more information to, and the ones he could care less about, he will barely tell anything to. That's why the complex interview was so awkward, and it's also why, to me, this TMZ interview, in my opinion, went as well as it did, as well as the one that he just did with Big Boy TV. Big Boy TV, the guy's a longtime radio host in California. He will give people that he genuinely likes the time of day to give better answers compared to other media members. And I think that's why he was so adamant in saying that he won't retire, because now he knows, okay, I have so much leverage now that I can speak to whoever I want and I can run my businesses the way that I want. So that's sort of my overall opinion on that. Is I don't think he has to retire, because he knows as long as he's still the front guy, at least in my personal opinion. I grew up with a different era of the sport than maybe you did, but at least as long as I've known it, as long as he's the front guy, and as long as he's the one promoting the fights, to me, and this is maybe in my own delusional head, I could be wrong in saying this, but to me, as long as he's the one promoting the fights, people still care. And it also kind of goes back to the point of what I sort of countered you with last week. As long as the MMA social media crazed community knows that the fights are happening, just my personal opinion, we don't really need too many crazy bells and whistles. Are they nice every so often to get some of the bigger fights off the ground? Sure. But to me, it's almost like the business is running itself. He sort of knows he can go off and do other ventures, and he doesn't want to retire simply because he doesn't feel like he has to. So what do you think?
I agree. Like, I think for sure it's just because he feels like he doesn't have to, you know? Like, it's an automated machine now. And it's it makes him a ridiculous amount of money. Let's take a gander. Dana White annual salary.
Okay.
Estimated around $20 million a year.
Okay.
Why would he retire?
$20 million a year to sit and do very selective interviews, make as many videos as he wants, goes to gamble as many times a week as he wants, and runs a couple businesses that you or I probably know nothing about.
Yeah, dude is going absolutely insane.
Yeah.
But hey, when you're making money like that, you can do whatever you want, I guess.
So I mean, I'm just curious because he was kind of hinting that one of the last big things he wanted to do in his career was go to Africa. I'm not about to ask you about whether they're going to go to Africa or not, but
They're
given
not.
all, I get it, but I'm just saying, given all of the success that he's brought to the sport and now he's rebuilt the sport, like what else, just from an outsider standpoint, because I try to figure this out myself and I can't really figure it out. What else or what more do you think he still wants to accomplish? Because he's pretty much accomplished anything he's ever wanted to accomplish. I mean, and the only thing I could think of, and this would obviously never happen because of just science and physics and whatever, probably like the peak of the peak would be if you had a UFC fight on the moon, which would never, which would never happen. So I'm just curious. What do you think? What do you think is still in it for him to keep doing what he's doing besides how much money he's making?
He wants to keep breaking financial records.
Okay.
Everywhere he goes needs to be a sellout. Everywhere he goes needs to be the highest grossing event of stadium history.
Okay.
That's his goal.
Okay.
But I just think if he, I don't know. I don't know if he's. I don't know. I have a lot of different feelings on this topic.
Okay. Well, shoot him. We have about 20 minutes. Shoot him. What do you?
I think on one hand, it's like I'm sure he enjoys what he does. Like I'm sure it's nice to be able to do contender series. I get to sit cage side and watch fights. I'm sure it's super nice to have all these nice cars and nice houses, brand new offices. It's all connected. Like that's a great job. He gets to gamble. He has unlimited money. He gets to hang out with the Nelk boys. But it comes to a point of like, I think he's doing the stuff he likes and just like he's doing none of the stuff he doesn't like. Right. And it comes to a point where it's like, yeah, you get all the good, but it's like you got to do the bad too. And I feel like he's just to the point where he's like, I'm not doing it. Someone else is doing it for me. I'm doing the good stuff. I'm going to spend $250,000 with Steiny from Nelk. Like,
yeah, I mean, dude, he even admitted in this big boy interview, he goes, I haven't gotten new clothes from a clothing store in 10 years. I haven't gone to the grocery store in 6 to 10 years. And I barely, and I barely cook any of my own food. He admitted it. He admitted all of it.
And when you're making money like that, good.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about it?
Well, I mean, pretty much ever since I started watching MMA, all I've ever known is him. And funny enough, in July it'll be 20 years since I started watching the sport. So I've only ever known him to be the CEO and president. So it would be weird to see him walk away. I mean,
you're an old man.
I am. I'm an OG MMA, and despite me being 26, MMA is the first sport I ever saw at 6 years old. It's a crazy origin story. But my point in saying it is, you know, I mean, eventually it's going to happen where he's going to retire. He keeps saying he'll never retire. He'll retire at some point. I mean, I think personally, this is just my opinion. I think he has a strategic 6-year plan where if he can achieve 5 things, I think he'll be fully satisfied. You want to hear the 5 things I have?
Let's hear him.
So he wants to. Here are my and I could be wrong. I'm gonna probably end up asking him about this. If I ever get a chance to interview him to see if he hits on any of the 5 I'm about to tell you. But the 5 are: he wants to build Zuffa boxing from the ground up. He wants to make divisions the same way that they were in the UFC, and he wants to structure it just like the UFC. That way there's a champion in every weight class, and then eventually by year 2 or year 3 or year 4, you're going to start to see Zuffa boxing in smaller arenas. Is either they come here to like Wintrust Arena or they go to other cities like that and they put them in smaller venues. Number 2, I think if he plays his cards correctly, the UFC will do an event in Spain, and I think that's a big goal that he's had for a long time that I think he wants to check off the list. That's number 2. Number 3, I think he wants to promote a major heavyweight boxing championship fight, which is something he's never done. A lot of the rumors about Alexander Usyk, but potentially being true. I think he's trying to plant the seed to say that I promoted the biggest heavyweight championship boxing match of the late 2020s, early 2030s, and he wants to be the guy to say that he was that he was the front guy to do so. And then number 4, I think he wants to host a UFC event in every major country of the world. I don't know how many more countries the UFC still has to hit, but I think until that number is reached, I think he's still going to stick around. And then number 5, I think that's the reason why you're seeing him around a lot more, and the reason why you're seeing him get all these deals done. And I've started to say it now for a couple of years, and I'm just going to say it now. I think eventually he wants Hunter Campbell to take over for him. So I think the more that he's giving to Hunter, the more incentive it is to where in 5 to 10 years he'll just be promoted as president, and it will be no big deal at all. So those, I think, are his 5 goals that he wants to hit by the time the Paramount deal is officially over. What do you think?
I agree. I agree with every single one of those. I like that.
Really? Do you like the order in which I said it, or would you do
the only one that I'm just like, I don't know how you quantify it is the every major country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think as long as they keep chugging along and doing it, I think they're going to be satisfied.
Okay, I'm going to ask you one more question before we move on to the final topic here. Do you think, if you were to make a prediction, is Dana White the UFC CEO / president by the time we reach UFC 400, or no? What do we think?
I think so. I think he makes it to 5, and then that'll be it.
Do you think he retires after 500, or at the end of the year that 500 happens?
Unsure.
If you were to make an educated guess, what would you predict?
I would think they'd be the end of the year, like the fiscal year.
Okay. So it seems like we sort of know what the future of the UFC holds. But a promotion where we don't really know what the future holds is the co-leader, if you will. That is the Professional Fighters League. And it has had a very rough week. They might have had a Capitol release press release, but they had some bad news come their way too, because Don Davis has officially stepped down as the chairman of the PFL. So by virtue, that also means the Jake Paul deal is officially dead. Given that we have about 3 weeks until the first event of the year, which, as we sort of hinted at last week, is a pretty big and substantial event, you couldn't ask for a more worse start to 2026, in my opinion. What do you think of this whole mess, and what do you think of it now being officially John Martin's promotion to run, if you will? So,
who the fuck is John Martin? Like,
nobody really knows.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy? But it's just Bellator 2.0, man. They're like, get rid of everybody. We're getting a ranking system. Like, it's just like, all right. But there's some good cards coming up. Like, these are good, fun cards. Like,
assuming they happen, are you a little bit nervous they won't happen now?
No, I think they'll be fine.
Okay,
we're 2 weeks out
for sure. For sure. And speaking of cards that we know for sure are going to happen, we have the first ever Zuffa boxing event officially headlined by Callum Walsh and Carlos Ocampo. What do we think of Zuffa boxing overall? It's an 8-fight card. You want to pull it up?
Can we see that?
Yes, sir.
Boom. We got it. It's interesting, man. Looks like some good talent. I only know Callum.
Me too, to be quite honest with you.
But looks good.
Apparently the top 3 fights, the combined records of those guys, it's like something ridiculous. 29-4 or 27 and 6 or I'm thinking it's a totally stacked
It's
main
15 and
card.
0 versus 38 and 3, 15 and 0 versus 17 and 0, 24 and 1 versus 17 and 0. Like there's some big
Yeah.
fights out here.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see how Callum Walsh does. This is truly his first global fight. Just given his trajectory. I mean, dude, I followed him since he was in Hollywood Fight Nights, fighting under Tom Woffler, and now to see him fight under Dana is pretty cool. Because I don't know how you were.
I think Callum versus Fernando Vargas is way bigger than this.
No, I just mean from a I get that. I sort of mean this is now where they had hoped he would be is now in a position to be promoted by the guy who befriended him 6 or 7 years ago on a pass and is now fighting on Paramount. It's pretty remarkable, to be honest.
No, I know what you mean. I feel you. I'm just like the new Apex too. Have you seen the new Apex?
Yeah, I have.
So I think it'll be interesting to see how it looks tomorrow night. I'm excited. I'll be watching. Hopefully,
cheapest tickets $250, so it's actually somewhat affordable.
So okay, so to clear up any misconceptions, if you look on the line, you're gonna see a post that says they go from $250 to $400.
Okay,
that is incorrect.
It's not right.
That is for fighters and employees only, for their family and friends,
and invited guests as well.
and invited guests. Well, invited guests don't pay for anything.
That's true. Good point.
But for regular ticket price is around $700.
Okay.
So but that still comes with unlimited food and drink and all that. So it depends. It's a lot better than what it was. It's about $600 less.
Yeah, I mean, do you think that that's a good deal for someone who's never been to the Apex before?
I think that as much as this pains me to say, but like market value is market value. If you're going to a pay-per-view and to get a VIP hospitality, it's going to cost you around a minimum $2,000.
Yep.
And you're like, I could go to an Apex Fight Night VIP first row for $700. All you can eat food and drink.
I'd rather do that, especially someone who's been to multiple numbered UFCs in the past.
Yeah, so, where it's like it's a much more personal experience. So it's one of those things. Like it depends what floats your boat, but I think $700 is a pretty fair price.
If you were in Vegas this weekend, would you go to this fight? Because I would.
Me too. Like, and I'm talking for UFC. I don't know what it is for the Zuffa boxing. But
I'm saying for Zuffa boxing, the cheapest ticket that I've seen is $250 for it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm just talking about the Apex in general for UFC.
Yeah.
But there's also
cheapest tickets you can get right now are for Zuffa boxing events because they want people to come to them.
Nice.
That's why.
Very nice. But so with it all depends on what you like. Like if you have a couple of drinks at a stadium, it's going to cost you $100. You get food, it's going to cost you another $50. So if you're willing, if you want a first row seat and you get unlimited food and drink, I think $700 is actually a pretty fair price.
Yeah, I think so too. And I mean, I am someone who's been to the Apex before, and I can tell you that their hospitality is very, very, very good. I mean, they make you feel like when you walk in there that you're a part of the unofficial fams, so to speak. Like it feels very personable when you walk in there. Like anything you need, there's staff around, and they're all just very, very hospitable, and they're good at what they do, and they're very friendly, and they make the average. Well, I'm not like an average person, but they make someone like me who doesn't really have any full connections to anyone feel important, which I think is something that you need in a business that is a very fast-moving, travel-heavy business. To where when they're at home, it just feels extremely different. But when I went to that Apex Fight Night a couple years ago, which is back in the era when you could only get the UFC VIP experience tickets, and I got the experience that I did, it just goes to show how personable the Apex is. So now that they've renovated it, now that they've changed the name, whether for better or for worse, to see that they want more average people to come in, I think it'll incentivize is dudes like you to try to get out there because, dude, let me tell you what, once you go to the Apex, you'll want to go back for sure. People crap on it on TV all the time, but dude, when you're in there and you're watching a fight and it's super intimate and you're only with a couple thousand people. With the event I went to, it felt like it was more like a couple hundred. You'd want to go back. And this is no disrespect to any of our fellow contacts that we know with other promotions, but I'm just gonna say that I'd much rather go to an UFC Apex Fight Night than a PFL event. I'm just telling you that now. So
I agree. Like it's a different feel. It's the big league. It's going from the Canadian Football League to the NFL.
For sure. And speaking of big money, and we could and just to clarify, we're both taking Walsh to beat Ocampo, right?
Yeah, let's do some quick picks here. We're both going Callum Walsh.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with Misael Rodriguez on this one. Huge favorite, I guess.
I've got Rodriguez as well. What about the next one?
I was gonna go with Julian Rodriguez, but Kane Sandoval, big favorite. I'll still go with Rodriguez.
Okay.
Who you got?
I got Sandoval, my guy.
Next up, I'll go with Omar Trinidad.
I am too. I'm taking him. I got Diaz also. What about you?
I got Floyd Diaz as well.
Okay.
I got Cardenas.
Okay.
I've got Merriweather.
I have Cortez Harris. That's who I have.
Cortez Harris. Oh, Marcus Harris?
Yes.
Over
Marcus Cortez Harris.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then I've got Robert Merriweather.
Okay.
And then I'll pick Troy Nash, I guess.
I'm taking Nash as well. So what is that? What is that? We only disagree on one fight or two fights out of the 8?
We disagree on Cardenas and Harris, and Rodriguez and Sandoval.
Okay. So yeah, those are Zuffa Boxing 1 picks. Let's see how we do. I'm hoping to go undefeated, and in fact, I've been picking Zuffa Boxing fights since they did their smaller shows last year. So technically, according to Tapology, I'm 13-5-2. But for you, my friend, it's a clean slate of 0-0. Given that you don't know any of these guys, if you were to predict how you're going to do on this card, how do you think you'll actually do?
I've got a good feeling. I think Kane Sandoval probably gets the job done.
Okay.
But other than that, I think I'm rocking and rolling.
All right. It sounds good. So that will do it for our Zuffa Boxing 1 predictions. And then final topic in the final few minutes that we have, Dana White gifted $1,000 tip to some drivers. He needed some valet parking done, it looked like, because he was staying at a house in Miami for the national championship game. Very, very, very hospitable tip there. Or any thoughts on Dana White blessing random valet guys? Because I thought it was pretty cool.
Here, if you want to pull that up here, we can actually watch the video.
Sure. If you go to YouTube and you just type in Dana White.
I've got it pulled up. It's in the underneath.
Oh, got it. Okay, here you go. This is it right here.
He's in Miami for the national championship, getting the valet out. Look at that. Boom, 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 boom. Mr. Big Money.
Yeah. So he does that quite often from what I hear. It just, sometimes those videos don't really go public. So I thought it was extremely cool, and it seems like all those guys were super grateful for his presence. And I don't know if you know this. I don't know if you know the reason why he was at the game. It's because his daughter goes to the that's why he was down there to watch Miami. And unfortunately, they lost to Indiana for his sake. But it was still a very, very, very fun national championship. Came down under the wire. And I know this isn't a college football show, but Indiana first 16-0 undefeated season since 1894 Yale. You got to love it, right?
I love it. Now, everybody arguing Indiana versus that 2019 LSU. These Indiana fans are talking crazy. That LSU.
I'm taking LSU, my guy. I'm taking LSU, my guy. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. What's up?
I said, but great season nonetheless.
Oh, for sure. But I gotta admit though, man, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, all those guys would school an Indiana team by at least a couple of scores. At least, man.
Agreed.
We're talking NFL All Pros. Like, I mean, I don't know. I just think it's a little bit too much to ask for the Hoosiers. But that is a perfect place to wrap it up. This has been the MMA Outsiders episode 153. Jack, in the final few minutes that we have, and any final thoughts or anything that you'd like to remind our viewers about going into the weekend, or just anything that our viewers and or listeners should be looking forward to in the weeks ahead?
Yeah, so if you are watching the UFC event on Paramount Plus on TV, do that. But also on your phone or computer, pull up Triller TV and watch CSE The Gauntlet to watch your boy and Steamroller Matt Frivola on the mic, commentated some pillow fight championships, some Bobby Shmurda, Waka Flocka interviews potentially. We'll see what's happening. It's going to be an interesting time, but don't miss out.
Yeah, don't miss out on your stuff. Enjoy UFC 324 this weekend, and you want to tease what we might be talking about next week besides the recap of all the madness from Las Vegas?
Whoa, before we end the show, some fights have been announced. Nathaniel Wood versus Losen Kita for London, March 14th.
Oh, shit, okay.
We've also got the return of Eric Silva taking on Francis Marshall in Mexico. We also have Chase Hooper versus Lance Gibson, March 28th in Seattle.
Okay.
Very interesting fights happening.
Very interesting, and you know that me and Kate to go a while back, so hopefully all of his weight issues are resolved, because he needs to fight. He needs to fight in the UFC. He's a super talent. The UFC needs that kid. He better deliver. What do you think?
I'm Nathaniel Wood all day, baby. He's one of my favorites. The UFC does him dirty. He should be 7-0 in his last 7. I hope he beats Keita, but it's a tough fight. It's a bad draw. Also, breaking news, RAF has just announced the co-main event to the Arizona bout at middleweight, Chad Mendes versus Benson Henderson.
Well, that's an OG pairing if I've ever seen one. Okay.
So very interesting to end the show on that.
Very interesting to end the show on that. So with that has been episode 153. He's Jack Golda. I'm Zain Bando. And by the way, we actually have a couple of comments here. And two of them I won't read, but one of them I will. Somebody is predicting that Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje because all he has to do is flick his hair. I don't know what that means, but that is this person's unofficial prediction. And it is a very unique username. In the other comments I won't read either.
Hey,
but
I'll say Mr. Scun Punch is an avid viewer of the MMA Outsiders, so we do appreciate you, sir.
Jeez, oh, really? You know the backstory behind him? I don't know.
He's been here. He's leaving comments every episode.
Okay. I did not catch the memo on that. Thank you so much for your support. We really appreciate it. But that will, and then we do it again. This has been episode 153. We will be back next week for, I'm sure, another star-studded edition. That'll be episode 154, where we will be diving back into recapping this card and, of course, previewing all the fights from Australia next week. It's back-to-back numbered cards. If you don't own Paramount Plus, be sure to get it right now. We will see you guys next week. Have a good one, everyone.